Hey everyone, it is late at night and I am Norman. I've really been enjoying watching videos where people are building their own custom watches for super cheap. So people are able to go onto AliExpress and purchase cases, movements, dials, hands, and kind of build their own custom watch without actually being a watchmaker. So you get to do some assembly and some watchmaking work, but you don't have to disassemble movements or anything crazy like that. You don't have to pay to have a custom dial created for you. You can just go through AliExpress. Everything's very affordable, of course, and just kind of build your own watch. And I pondered doing that. I started kind of poking around the site, and the challenge for any project that I would do like that is the lack of options for dressy, kind of vintage scale pieces. There are Explorer size cases out there because there are plenty of people who want to make kind of Explorer-like watches, or maybe their own kind of alpinist in a way. And I have seen a dressy looking case, but for the most part, all of the components that you're looking at are sports watches, which is cool. But I think for me, what I would really like to build as a custom watch is a super ultra minimalist Bauhaus dress watch. I've mentioned it so many times in so many videos, but a 36, 37 millimeter version of my Xeno Bauhaus winder. I don't know what it is about that watch, but that to me is like the grail Bauhaus design. And maybe without the small seconds on there even. I'm weird, I would be down for a two-hander. Super long, thin batten markers, no minutes track, just bare bones. I actually designed a dial like that, and it was kind of cool looking. But my understanding is there isn't a whole lot of options for having dials created, especially if you're not actually a company. Like, I would essentially be building a prototype for my own enjoyment. So in the modding world, there still aren't a whole lot of choices just yet. I also considered purchasing some inexpensive vintage watches on eBay and taking measurements of the inside of the case. Maybe there would be some way of purchasing a contemporary movement that would fit in the case, and then tracking down dials and hands and everything else that would work with that movement, but I am busy, so I haven't done that yet. But there is a modding project that I am going to do. In fact, I have all that I need sitting in the cart, waiting for my account to not be empty. So I'm hoping within maybe a month or so, I'll be able to do this. And what is that project, you ask? Well, in one of the modding videos that I've been seeing recently, somebody mentioned a site that I had completely forgotten about and really hadn't explored a whole lot in the past. SKX Mod. So I think last time I explored this website, it was basically SKX type builds. So everything was just kind of sporty, Seiko style mods. But now there's something a little bit different on this site. When you go to their website, you'll notice that they have modding kits for A168 and F105W series. So these are vintage Casio style mods. And the F105W, which I actually don't know a whole lot about, but did some digging online and looking at the specs for what I have in my cart, digging out the calipers and measuring my F91W, they're the same size? Perfect. I love that small retro size that the F91 is, and apparently these are the same size. So I've gone through here and I'll show you what I'm pondering so far. So for the case, I considered going sort of original and going with the polished case, but my idea of this build is having that retro aesthetic and size in high-end materials. High-end. Stainless steel, sapphire, as opposed to acrylic crystal and stuff. Something that's like next level but looks like it's an affordable Walmart watch. But since it'll be made out of these contemporary, really tough materials, I figure maybe I ought to go with a tougher case. Something a little bit more tooly, but I don't know. I'm still kind of up in the air on that. I might go with something that's more authentic looking, like the polished. But for now, I've gone with the satin case. And I like my retro LCD watches if they have a metal case or faux chrome case. I actually like those on a metal bracelet or metal mesh. So for this build, I went with the bracelet. And of course, because the case is satin, I went with the satin bracelet. Now, at first, it was kind of tough choosing the faceplate because I was envisioning something very bare bones maybe, like maybe a gray, kind of an aesthetic similar to this beautiful piece. Yes, that looks so cool. So I perused through the faceplates a few times before I decided to go for the synthwave vintage OG one. So I went with the turquoisey green and gold with all the stuff on it. So it's not plain or bare bones or minimalist. It's straight up old school style in super synthwavy colors. Also sitting in my cart is a module. That way I don't have to shop anywhere else to get one. I went with the positive display because I want it to look retro and be legible. And right on SKX Mod, they have the F105W module. Perfect. And when you go to their site, they have pop-ups for discounts and whatnot, so I need to sign up for those. But even without those, this entire build, because it has the bracelet, it's a bit more spendy, but with all the pieces, the component, the case, the faceplate, the bracelet, I'm looking at about $170. And I feel like that's not bad. I mean, I'm getting a classic, super old school looking watch that's in stainless steel with a sapphire crystal on it for under $200. That's pretty cool. So hopefully in a month, I'll be able to pull the trigger on this. I'm pretty excited. This will be a fun piece. I don't really wear my vintage LCD watches a whole lot, but every now and then they're super fun to take off the shelf and wear for a day or so. They're just so cool looking. So we'll see. I'll have to let you know if I do pull the trigger on this. Thanks for watching.